Imagine discovering that some of the exercises you have trusted for years, perhaps even decades, may no longer be helping your body in the way you believe. Imagine realizing that the very movements once praised for strength and vitality might quietly be placing stress on joints, destabilizing balance, or pushing tissues beyond what aging physiology can comfortably tolerate. This is not a story about limitation or fear. It is a story about understanding change. Because aging is not the sudden loss of ability, it is a gradual transformation of how the body responds to movement, load, and recovery. And when we understand this transformation, we gain something powerful, the ability to move with wisdom instead of habit. The human body does not age uniformly. Muscles, bones, connective tissues, and the nervous system evolve at different rhythms. After the age of 60, subtle shifts begin to influence how force travels through the body. Muscle fibers may lose some elasticity, tendons may stiffen slightly, cartilage becomes more sensitive to compression, and reaction times change. None of this means the body becomes fragile. Rather, it becomes more selective. It asks for intention instead of intensity, alignment instead of speed, and awareness instead of repetition driven by momentum alone. Many seniors carry exercise patterns learned earlier in life, and these patterns often emphasize effort, endurance, or pushing beyond fatigue. There is something admirable about persistence, yet biology reminds us that adaptation requires balance. For example, high-impact movements such as repetitive jumping or sudden directional changes can place significant load on joints that may already be managing decades of use. The knees, hips, and spine absorb forces that once felt invigorating but may now accumulate microstress over time. Scientific observation suggests that joint health benefits more from controlled, rhythmic loading rather than abrupt force. When we transition away from aggressive impact and toward smoother movement, we honor both strength and longevity. Consider the common belief that more intensity always equals better results. This idea often leads individuals toward exercises that demand maximal effort, such as deep heavy squats performed rapidly or explosive movements without sufficient support. Yet, aging muscles respond differently to stress signals. They still grow stronger, but they thrive under progressive, controlled resistance rather than sudden overload. Slow, mindful strength training can stimulate muscle fibers effectively while reducing strain on ligaments and joints. In this way, the body receives the message to adapt without the confusion of excessive stress. Another area worth exploring is the relationship between flexibility and force. Many people associate stretching with pushing further into range, believing that deeper always means better. However, connective tissues change with age, and aggressive ballistic stretching can sometimes create instability rather than flexibility. Gentle sustained stretching encourages tissues to adapt safely, while sudden bouncing movements may trigger protective reflexes that increase tension. The nervous system plays a significant role here, interpreting rapid movements as potential threats and tightening muscles defensively. By slowing down, we shift the conversation from force to cooperation. Abdominal exercises offer another fascinating example of how habits formed earlier may require reconsideration. Traditional sit-ups or aggressive spinal flexion movements can increase pressure on the lumbar spine, particularly if core stability has changed over time. The spine thrives on balanced support from surrounding muscles, and exercises that focus on controlled stabilization, such as gentle core engagement or supported movements, often provide safer alternatives. The goal becomes not to abandon strength, but to cultivate it through alignment and awareness. Running, too, invites reflection. For some seniors, running remains joyful and sustainable, especially when practiced with good technique and gradual progression. Yet for others, repetitive high-impact running may aggravate joints or lead to overuse injuries. The scientific perspective encourages personalization rather than universal rules. Walking, swimming, cycling, or low-impact aerobic movement may provide similar cardiovascular benefits while reducing stress on vulnerable structures. The body appreciates variation, and variety allows different tissues to share the load. We must also consider the influence of balance and reaction time. Exercises that require sudden directional changes or unstable positions without adequate preparation may increase fall risk. The nervous system integrates visual, vestibular, and proprioceptive information to maintain stability, and these systems evolve with age. Training balance intentionally, through slow, controlled challenges, strengthens neural pathways that protect against falls. Avoiding exercises that demand rapid, unpredictable movement without preparation is not a sign of weakness. It is an expression of intelligent adaptation. There is a deeper psychological dimension to the idea of stopping certain exercises. Many people fear that letting go of familiar routines means surrendering youth or identity. Movement becomes tied to memory, the way we once trained, competed, or challenged ourselves. Yet change does not erase identity, it refines it. Choosing exercises aligned with current needs reflects maturity and self-awareness. It transforms fitness from a battle against aging into a partnership with it. Scientific curiosity invites us to observe how recovery changes over time. The body still repairs and adapts, but the timeline may lengthen slightly. High-intensity workouts performed without adequate recovery can accumulate fatigue, affecting not only muscles but the nervous and immune systems. Sleep, hydration, and gentle mobility become as important as the exercises themselves. By reducing or modifying movements that create excessive strain, seniors create space for recovery processes to function effectively. One often overlooked factor is posture. Exercises that encourage forward rounding or excessive spinal compression may reinforce patterns that contribute to discomfort or imbalance. The spine thrives when movements support natural alignment, allowing forces to distribute evenly. Even small adjustments, maintaining neutral posture during strength exercises, engaging supportive muscles gently, can shift the experience from strain to stability. Breath plays a subtle yet profound role. Holding the breath during effort increases internal pressure and may affect blood pressure regulation. Slow, rhythmic breathing supports both stability and calmness, allowing the nervous system to remain balanced during movement. Exercises that encourage breath awareness promote a harmonious interaction between effort and relaxation. As we reflect on which exercises to stop or modify, it becomes clear that the conversation is not about restriction but refinement. The body continues to respond to challenge, but it seeks clarity in the signals it receives. Movements that emphasize control, balance, and functional strength align with how aging physiology adapts most effectively. The transition away from certain high-risk patterns opens space for exploration of new practices that feel sustainable and empowering. There is something deeply human about learning to listen to subtle signals, the difference between productive effort and harmful strain. Pain is not always an enemy. Sometimes it is information. By paying attention to how the body feels during and after exercise, individuals cultivate a relationship with movement that evolves over time. Curiosity replaces judgment, and experimentation becomes guided by awareness rather than comparison. Another layer of understanding emerges when we consider the brain's role in movement. Every exercise is also a neurological event. The brain maps movements, predicts outcomes, and refines coordination through repetition. Exercises that demand excessive speed or complexity without gradual progression may overwhelm these systems. Slowing down allows the brain to integrate new patterns more effectively, enhancing confidence and reducing injury risk. We might pause here to appreciate how remarkable it is that the human body retains its capacity for adaptation across decades. Muscle fibers respond to resistance even in advanced age. Balance improves with practice. Cardiovascular endurance increases through consistent activity. The myth that aging inevitably leads to decline dissolves when we observe the body's responsiveness. Yet responsiveness depends on appropriate stimulus. When exercises become mismatched to current physiology, progress slows or discomfort increases. By releasing outdated habits, we create space for new growth. Imagine an exercise routine where every movement feels purposeful, where joints move smoothly without strain, where breathing remains steady, and where energy increases rather than drains. This vision is not unrealistic. It emerges from aligning practice with the body's evolving needs. Stopping certain exercises is simply part of refining that alignment. There is also a social narrative surrounding aging and exercise that deserves reflection. Media often celebrates extremes, intense workouts, dramatic transformations, while quieter forms of movement receive less attention. Yet for many seniors, gentle consistency produces deeper benefits than sporadic intensity. The body responds more favorably to regular moderate activity than to occasional bursts of extreme effort. When seniors replace potentially harmful exercises with safer alternatives, they often rediscover joy in movement. Fear diminishes, confidence grows, and the relationship with exercise shifts from obligation to curiosity. This emotional transformation carries physiological effects as well. Reduced stress enhances hormonal balance and supports recovery. We may ask ourselves how to identify exercises that should be reconsidered. The answer lies not in rigid lists but in principles. Movements that cause sharp or persistent pain, exercises that compromise balance without support, patterns that encourage poor alignment, or routines that leave the body excessively fatigued for prolonged periods. By observing these signals, individuals become active participants in their health journey. The beauty of human movement is its adaptability. A push-up can be modified against a wall, a squat can be adjusted with support, and cardio can transform from running to rhythmic walking. Each modification preserves the intention of exercise while respecting individual needs. This flexibility ensures that fitness remains accessible rather than intimidating. As we move deeper into this exploration, a philosophical question arises. What does strength mean after 60? Strength may no longer be defined solely by speed or power but by stability, endurance, and resilience. It is the ability to stand confidently, to move freely, to maintain independence. Exercises aligned with these goals nurture both body and spirit. And perhaps the most important realization is that stopping certain exercises is not a loss but an evolution. Just as seasons change in nature, movement patterns evolve in response to time. The body does not demand perfection, it asks for attention. It rewards consistency, patience, and kindness. If this perspective resonates with you, if you feel encouraged to approach movement with curiosity and wisdom rather than pressure, then take a moment now to support this journey. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join a community dedicated to healthy aging, thoughtful exercise, and lifelong strength.